All right, here we're going to jump through the Nexstar service system. And there's 6 steps. We're going to talk about 4 steps today. Okay, the prepare step, the greet step, the explore step, and the present step. Those are going to be our 4 topics that we're going to talk about today. So, prepare step. Okay, the prepare step is something you have to personally do. You drive to the house, maybe before you get ready to go to Mrs. Jones's house, you have to make sure all that trash in your head is out. Maybe somebody tried to run you off the road, or you forgot something, or you got a phone call that pissed you off. Whatever. Just calm down, breathe in, breathe out, and get yourself ready to go. Okay? The next step is you go up to the door. Bring your shoe covers with you, please, and put your shoe covers in as you're walking through the door. Okay? I don't want you standing out in a puddle of mud on the stoop, or it's full of snow or rain, whatever. Before you walk in, put your shoe covers on, but not down outside. So lift your foot up, put your shoe cover on, put a foot inside the door, lift your other foot up, put your shoe cover on, and now you're inside with shoe covers. The customer, you might think, well, hell, the customer's going to think that's crazier now. Well, no, it's not. We've had studies and had replies from customers saying that's unique and I really appreciated the effort. So that's really what's happening in the customer's mind right then when you're going through that greet step. Okay? So once you get into the greet step, explain to the customer how this call is going to run today. Show them the 6 steps. Okay? I'll take a look at your system. I'm going to take a look at the initial problem. I'm going to take a look at the entire system, and then I'll give you some options, and then from there we'll finish the work on which options you'd like for us to do. Would that be okay, Ms. Jones? So just explain to them what's going to happen on the call. That is the greet step, and setting them up for what to expect. Because the customer doesn't know you, so you have to explain to them what it is you're going to do. Just be brief with it. And make it your own, make it yours. Don't be a robot. If I'm saying something that you're not comfortable, change your verbiage. Okay? As long as you're not cussing, you'll be good. Explain to the customer how this will play out today. Show them the 6 steps in your agenda card. Always start there when you're greeting the customer. Say, Miss Jones, you called us out here today. Want to make sure you're okay with my shoe covers. We always do that because we don't want to bring in dirt from the outside. And so go through your 6 steps with your customer, okay, on the greet step. So, and then from there, you say, do you have any questions? And if they don't have any, say, great. I understand you're having a problem with the kitchen sink right now. Explain to the customer how this will play out today. Show them the 6 steps in your agenda card. Always start there when you're greeting the customer. Say, Miss Jones, you called us out here today. Want to make sure you're okay with my shoe covers. We always do that because we don't want to bring in dirt from the outside. And so go through your 6 steps with your customer, okay, on the greet step. So, and then from there, you say, do you have any questions? And if they don't have any, say, great. I understand you're having a problem with the kitchen sink right now. Is that right? Yes. Great. Can you guide me to your kitchen sink? Yes. Okay. After diagnosing the issue, say something like, great, I have some options for you. Can you show me where, if it's a plumbing call, where the main water shutoff is? If it's something to do for the HVAC, where you went to the main, I put kitchen sink up here that you went to do, but let's say it's the HVAC call, is it a furnace issue, is it an AC issue? You always probably want to go down to the air handler first, or the thermostat first, make sure everything's on and working correctly. Then go to the air handler furnace compartment, and I'd go there first before I'd go out to the condenser. Now, I'm not technical in HVAC, so if I'm wrong, just water off my duck's back. I don't care. You guys decide where you want to go first, okay? You may want to ask for the thermostat first for HVAC to make sure that everything's on. The electrical main breaker box, where's the electrical panel? You know where the main electrical panel is, Mrs. Jones. Okay, so those are questions you're going to ask Mrs. Jones. And so this is the money step. Always ask for permission to lead the way, for the customer to lead the way. Ms. Jones, can you show me where the main water shutoff is? Can you show me where the furnace is? Can you show me where your breaker panel is? Okay? Always ask the customer to show the way. Now, most customers will say, you know, it's just down the steps and it's to the right a little bit. Okay, Mrs. Jones, if I notice anything, what would you like for me to do? That should be your response. If you're going down to see the furnace or the air conditioner inside or wherever you're doing, HVAC wise, and the customer says, you know what, I've got kids up here, you know, can you just go downstairs there and take a look at it? Yeah, no problem, Mrs. Jones. If I notice anything, what would you like for me to do? Sparkies, electrical guys. You know, if there's something wrong with the electrical, generally you have to ask where that is. I'm going with the basement on this. It could be out in the garage. It could be in a closet somewhere. Depends on the structure of the house, right? So you don't know where it is, so that's why we have to ask. Mr. Jones, do you know where your electrical panel is? Oh yeah, it's right over here. Great. Can you show me? Well, I got these kids over here, and I got to run over to the neighbor's house and let the dog out. Oh, no problem, Miss Jones. If I notice anything, what would you like for me to do? You're asking permission to bring them back into the explore step when you ask that question. No problem, Miss Jones, because right now they don't know you and they don't trust you. And they're not going to know you and they're not going to trust you until you have a conversation with them. And that's what we do in the explore step. Okay? But we have to get the customer. You can do the explore step before the customer goes down. If the customer pushes off, maybe they got a house full of kids. You know, I got all these kids up here. You know, it's just downstairs or it's out in the garage. Can you look at that yourself? Yeah, no problem, Ms. Jones. If I notice anything, what would you like for me to do? That's a very important question because the key is, even how busy she was before, and you come back up and you ask, Ms. Jones, do you have a moment? I'd like to show you something. They're going to have time to go to the main water shutoff, to the furnace, or to the breaker box. Okay? And it's the initial pushback that a customer who doesn't know you and doesn't understand how you run the business, they don't know you from Adam, generally. Now, customers that you've done in the past will be expecting you to do that again. Okay? So if you do this process, you can't lose. Because if the customer says, yes, if you notice anything, let me know. So if you notice something, write your stuff down and then say, yeah, Mr. Jones, I've got some questions. Do you got a moment? So yeah, what you've done is just pull them back into the explore step. And that is critical. This is the money step. The customer has to be there. They can't buy something they don't know what it is that they're buying. So they have to see it. Seeing it is believing it. Okay? So, do an example of a plumbing explore step deep dive. Keep your eyes open for other plumbing items to view in an explore step. So go to the main water shutoff first. Always go there first. Handle operations. Can you turn it? Is it hard to turn? If it's hard to turn, say, ooh, that's hard. Can you turn that, Mr. Jones? Get them involved in this explore step and see if they can turn it. No, that's hard. Okay, no problem. You're not selling anything. You're just demonstrating what's wrong. You're showing the customer what's wrong. So you're going to write down on your observation and finding sheet, handles type on the main water shutoff. Okay? Corrosion on the main water shutoff. Oh, you know. Ooh, how long's that corrosion been there, Mrs. Jones? Well, I've never noticed. I never come down here. Okay, no problem. Corrosion. You're writing down. Okay? The handle operation. Now you wrote down corrosion. Have you ever had your water tested here? So I'm going to test your water, make sure we've got the right pounds per square inch in there. And so you take your little gauge, put it on the boiler drain, and test your water, see how much PSI they have. And ooh, Okay, that's good. You got 60 pounds per square inch. That's right in line. That's good. So give them some good news and give them some bad news. Okay, so not everything needs to be bad news. All right. PRV is a pressure reducing valve work, and so test the pressure. I mean that's going to show on the 60 psi's. And if they have a PRV and you adjust it, you see that pressure go up or down. That's good. You can actually show the customer that it's working or it's not working. Okay. But if it's in range at 60, they may not even need the pressure regulator, but they could. Okay. Water softener. Ms. Jones, I noticed you didn't have a water filtration system or a softener. Is there a reason for that? No, I never really even thought about it. Oh, okay. No problem, Ms. Jones. What you're doing now is just planting seeds for the next call. Okay? And they may call you about it. They may get intrigued about it. But if you don't mention it, they're never going to think about it. But when they start thinking about water filtration and softening, they're going to think of you. Okay? Always look up in the ceiling in a basement or a crawl space or a garage or wherever you got to go where the main water shutoff is. If people that have basements, it's a whole lot easier to explore a lot more than if you're on a slab on grade. You basically got the garage to deal. And if you got a crawl space, you're kind of screwed because Mrs. Jones ain't gonna crawl into that space with you. So it is nice for you to take some snapshot pictures of what you got on your digital phones nowadays. That's cool. We used to have the old and they spit out the automatic picture in these old cameras we used to have. This is back in 1990 now, guys. Okay. Self-tapping valves. Look for self-tapping valves. There's usually corrosion around the self-tapping valves. And when you see it, you just kind of look at it and go, oh, how long has that been like that? Get the customer involved and just shut up. I said, I never knew it was there. Okay, no problem. Don't offer to fix it. Just write it down. Self-tapping valve. Okay? You're building a list of things that you're going to present. You're not presenting right now. You're just building a list. But your list has to be something that your customer understands because you're going to be presenting it in the next step. And I don't want the next step to be the first time they heard about it. Because then they're going to be scratching their heads and saying, why the hell are you offering me this? I didn't ask you to do that. I just had this issue. Right? So that's what the explore step is. It helps us add more tasks per call. Okay? Corrosion around the water around the main water shutoff. I already talked about that one. I don't know if I did or not. Oh yeah, I did because I was down here and I'm over PRV now. Okay. Water filtration, we talked about that. Self-tapping valves where I was laid off. Water heaters. Great question to ask. Do you ever run out of hot water? Because the water heater is going to be down in that area. It's either going to be in the garage, or it's going to be in the basement, it's going to be somewhere in that area. Okay. Now there are places where water heaters in the attic in some part of the country. I've never lived there, but I'm sure they do. Okay. So water, do you ever run out of hot water? It's a great question to ask. Yeah, I do. Sometimes only when my daughter's in the shower. I said, oh, I totally get that. They can really heat it up, can't they? So write that down. Water heater. Water stains on the water closet, on the closet bed. So look up there for the closet bed from the toilets and see if there's any calcium on those closet beds because it's a sign that the gasket's leaking or there might be a crack in the flange. It could be something, but if there's a water stain mark there, you point it out. Oh, it's got water stains on it. Does that leak a lot for you? Do you ever notice it leaking down there? Nah, I never hardly come down here. Okay. Softener. I noticed you don't have no softener. Is there a reason why you don't have a softener? No, I just never really thought I needed one. Okay. So these are questions I'm throwing out there. Some parts of the country, you got to have a softener. My area, I had a softener once and I didn't care for it. But anyways, I'm just pointing out some things that you're going to be exploring. And if you're in a softener mode in your area and you guys are pushing softeners, this is a place to ask for, to point give the customer a reason to call you when they are ready for a softener. I'm not selling her a softener today, but I'm just putting that bug in her ear. Oh, they do softeners. You guys do softeners? Oh, yeah. Is that something you'd like for us to do? I get to the presentation, you'll hear that piece. Okay? Water stains on piping. When you're doing the explore step, do you see any water stains on the piping? It's going to be white calcium built up. And around the water heater, it's going to be corrosion around the water heater. You seeing anything there like that? Stop and go, oh, how long has that been like that? Point it out. It's kind of like, you guys ever gone to a cave? We have a cave, I think it's cavern, I can't even think what the name of it is. As a kid, I went to a cave. And they had these stalactites and stalagmites coming off the ceilings and the walls and all that. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool, look at that. That's kind of what we're doing here. Look at that, look at that, look at that. So you're just pointing it out, okay? Do you notice the water stains? Cast iron clean out and the brass plug, is it tight? Generally those clean outs on the floor, those brass plugs have been opened once to be cleaned out and they just stick it over the hole. Make sure that it's tight. And if it's not, say, ooh, that's not even holding the sewer gas back. That's just somebody put a plug over there. That clean out. Just something to, your area may be different, okay, but I'm just pointing out to what I've seen. Corrosion on the water heater. If there's anything corrosion on the water heater, anything corroded around the water, if you got white calcium stuff up on the water heater and the drain valve, don't open up that drain valve for crying out loud. Just point at it and say, oh, how long has that been like that? How long has that been like that? Do you ever run out of hot water, Mrs. Jones? Oh, only when my daughter's in the shower. I totally get that. They can really use it up, can't they? Sump pump working. You go over the sump pump, you shake it, make sure it was, plug it, unplug it, pull the lever up, see if it's working. Do a test on it. Make sure that if you pull the lever up, will it turn on? Okay? You're exploring here. You're maximizing a ticket here. Okay? Below are examples on how to build your options after you've completed the explore step. So now we're going to jump into the options piece. When transitioning to the explore step, always ask permission to have the customer lead you to the first location you need to start the explore step. So the initial reason Mrs. Jones called you, go there first. And then the explore step starts. You're transitioning to the explore step after you've looked at the main reason Mrs. Jones called you. Okay? So, plumbing, main water shut off, have a technician create their own thorough explore after the main water shut off. So if that was the first thing. Okay? HVAC. You're going to go to the air handler, the furnace, the condenser, the evaporator coil. Okay. Electric, you're going to go to the electrical panel. But you're probably going to go to an outlet first on the electrical side. You're probably going to go to it's hot, it's cold on the AC side. Okay. Or something's running upstairs operationally before you ever go down into the explore step. Okay. But these are examples of what the explore step is. Invite your customer to take the lead on the initial problems where the initial problem is located. So always have the customer take you to where the initial problem is. Always go there first. Allow the customer to show the way. Okay? If your customer is reluctant to join you in the explore step, I didn't write that in here, but if the customer is reluctant to join you, ask for permission by asking this question. You can ask for permission by asking this question. Because a lot of the customers don't want to go down there with you because they don't know who you are. They don't go to the main water shut off or the furnace or the breaker box. They say it's downstairs because they want to stay away. They don't want to be sold, basically, is what they're saying to you. But You got to ask for this permission. If I notice anything, what would you like for me to do? If a customer does not want to explore with you right away, ask this question. If you notice anything, can I highlight that this way? I can't. If you notice anything, what would you like for me to do? They will always say yes. Please let me know. They have basically agreed to be part of the explore step. So they may be reluctant to explore with you up in the beginning. It's because they don't know you. Okay? But because you ask permission to bring them into the explore step, so when you go down in the explore step, Mrs. Jones says, hey, I got these 3 kids up here I got to deal with. It's just downstairs, or it's under the crawl space, or in the garage, wherever. Say, no problem, Mrs. Jones. If I notice anything, what would you like for me to do? Well, yeah, absolutely. Let me know. Okay. So now they're going to jump in the explore step. So that's the explore step. So now it's the present step after you did your explore step. So in your explore, you had a leak you were called out for a leak on the kitchen faucet. So here's the options. A repair, rebuild, replace thought process is where you want to be here. Okay? So always be selling up by selling down. So you notice that I've got 1X here, 2X here, 3X here. I'm selling down. So I'm putting in the smallest repair, a rebuild, and a replacement. And I use the 3 R's because it's easy for technicians to understand. Okay? Think of it as repair it, rebuild it, or replace it. All right? And now the customer, if you just go in and says, Ms. Jones, I can repair this for this, you have a 50% chance of closing that job if that's all you did. Plus you haven't even explored to maximize the ticket. But if you go in there and tell Mrs. Jones, this is the price to do this, without giving them the options for a repair, rebuild, replace, because when you give them 3 options, you've got a 75% chance of closing versus a 50% chance of closing. Okay? So you can raise your odds by offering repair, rebuild, replace. That's a critical piece to delivering service to your customer. Example of a new faucet. Remember, sell up by selling down, talking about? Like kind faucet, with or without a sprayer, upgrade to a single handle, with or without a sprayer, upgrade to a polished brass, decorative style. Just kind of made that up as I went through it, okay? So just letting you know, this is when if they're looking for the replace, now we give them, okay, here's 3 more options. Which one of these would you like to have, right? All right, so then during the explore step, other items you or your customer discussed or noticed together. So this is what happens in the explore step. Get your customer involved in the explore step. Because when you do, you will maximize your ticket. Because they'll add on other repairs other than the one that they just asked you to do. Because this one here is critical. But as we do a proper explore step and the customer's there with them, they say, you know what, why don't we just get all this done now? That happens more times than not. Okay? So during the explore step, initial reason we were called out today. So this is when you're presenting to the customer. Okay? So we're on the present step. During the explore step, you and your customer discover the main water shut off. It's hard to turn. Okay? So that wasn't even what we were called out to do, but we're doing an explore step anyway. So repair the faucet stem packing, rebuild the faucet stem packing, rubber seal and stem lubricant, or replace the current flow valve with a quarter turn ball valve. Because we talked about it, we earn the right to present on it. Okay? Even though it was something in the kitchen sink that they were talking about to begin with. Visually, the ice maker self-tapping valve shows signs of calcium buildup. We could repair the self-tapping valve, clean the stem and the stem packing. May not be practical option due to the tendency that they can't be rebuilt or replaced sometimes. Replace it with a ball valve instead of a self-tapping valve. Replace it with a ball valve and some new 1/8 inch tubing. to go up to your ice maker. Okay. You mentioned you run out of hot water when your daughter's in the shower. So we could add a 40-gallon tank in series, giving you 80 gallons. We could replace the existing 40 with a 50-gallon tank, or we could replace the existing 40 with a high recovery water heater. What would you like to do? Yeah, think about that one. Okay? Or they may say, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and do this. I'm getting tired of getting no hot water. We saw this together. The water stains were building up on the lead bend of the PVC closet bend, showing signs there's a leak. Future, you could do nothing and keep your eye on it. We could reset that toilet with a new seal. The toilet for a new seal of your closet flange and bend, closet flange and bend, okay. See if that helps and keep your eye on it. Or we could replace, if it's a lead bend, we could replace the lead bend and go with a closet flange with PVC piping. Okay, but the key here is you want to give them a good, better, best replacement. Okay, so you notice that I'm selling up by selling down. Okay, you mentioned your faucet strip in the bathroom. We could repair it. It's probably got a failed component. I could rebuild the stem and the seat and the packing. Replace the, I should say kitchen faucet. Should mention the faucet strip. Oh, maybe in the bathroom. So that should say bathroom. Just gonna change that one on here. This is my beta run. That's good. Okay, thank you for letting me do that. So I can repair, rebuild, replace again. Alright? I'll just make that up there. So light kind faucet with or without sprayer. Now I'm not sure why we did that because it's a bathroom. But I'll just take that off because it doesn't make much sense right now. Alright? And then upgrade to a single handle with spray or upgrade with polish decorative style. So you can give them some upgrades on those bath faucets. Okay, you mentioned your toilets seem to be making noise all by itself. You know, one option is replace it. And understand, you can't present this option unless you explored that option, or if you had that conversation. I'm just throwing some options in here for parts of the home. But you haven't earned the right to present this unless you've seen this with Mrs. Jones, unless you've explored it with Mrs. Jones. Okay, but I'm doing this to give you some ideas, okay, on what would the options be. So if you're going to repair the toilet, mention the toilets seem to be making noise all by itself. Replace the flapper, no repair options on flappers. The flush valve and flapper you could put in, okay, or all components that cause that could be causing the failure. So you could have a whole grime of things in there. That maybe the flush valve has a nick in it, okay, and you need a new flapper, and you probably have a ton of calcium in there floating around and making the flapper leak as well. So there's a lot of things you could actually do. New valve, new flush valve with flapper, new trip lever. So I did that on the fly. Probably doesn't make sense right now, but the idea here, okay, is we're putting together a repair, a rebuild, and replace thought process when we present to the customer, because we want to present three things that we can do to help Mrs. Jones here. And when we give them three things, they got three things to choose. If we give them one thing, they got one thing to choose. And it'll be a yes or a no. So I've got 3 out of 4 yeses here that Mrs. Jones could say with a 1 no. So my odds are much better. Okay? So that's that piece right there. So I wanted to get through that and have this as a tool, and I did a video for it. And it's a hell of a lot longer than I wanted it to be. But it is what it is. All right, guys. Appreciate you. Got any questions, give me a call.